Lots of SRA groups will use spiritual entities to glue in programming, harass you, oppress you, and affect your ability to manifest stuff into your life. An example of this is if you wish for a car, but there's an entity blocking that area of your energy that manifests those things, you actually might get into a car accident instead. The entity is acting as sort of a refracting surface, so that when you project that desire into the universe is actually receiving a distorted version of your desire and reflecting that distortion back to you. Today we will go through how to remove these entities. A couple of things to remember when working with these entities is that entities are essentially nature spirits who also are being forced into this situation where they're being put into your energy. They don't want to be in your energy. They want to be in an environment where they have everything around them that they need to survive, just like a physical plant or animal. So in order to successfully remove these entities from your energy, you must treat them with respect, and they will also treat you with respect, because when they were put into your energy by a black magic practitioner or an SRA group, those people were not interested in protecting and respecting the sovereignty of these beings. All they wanted was to use them to harm you. And that's not who we are as people that want to heal from SRA. We want to treat these beings with the respect that they deserve. Once we are in loving relationship with them, they will happily leave your energy. So let's get into the healing sequence. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and exhale. Think of an area in your life where you're having trouble manifesting what it is you want. It could be money, relationships, feeling like you're not being heard or seen, anything. Now identify where in the body you're having a feeling come up as you think about that situation. Now take your etheric hand and reach into the energy of your body at that place where the feeling is showing up. And you're going to grab for an entity. So at this point, you don't really know what it is or what it looks like, but I want you to set the intention of now it's time to find out what this entity looks like. So as you're reaching in, the entity is going to take shape. Take a couple moments to allow the image of the entity to unfold in your mind. And I'll give you a few examples, but before that, I want you to see if you can naturally come up with what that entity looks like on your own. So a few common examples of entities that I've seen showing up in my own system and others are sea creatures. For some reason, they really like to use marine entities. That's a whole other rabbit hole that you can go down. But a couple examples of those are squids, octopi, crabs, lobsters. You can also have things like insects and maggots, which are not super fun to think about, but they show up in people's energy. You can also get entities that look like the big thing from Stranger Things with all the arms. That's a thing. And also plants and trees. So if you couldn't already visualize what that entity is that you're targeting in your own body, you can use one of those that I just mentioned and visualize that, and it will help you get to where you need to go. So now we're going to grab that entity and pull it out. Pull it out of your etheric system until it's kind of dangling in your hand, and you're going to cup it, and now we're going to ask that entity what it wants, because the entity is a sovereign being just like you and me. So there's two questions I like to ask it generally, and those two questions are, first, would you like to go home? And tap into the entity's consciousness and allow it to tell you, what would home look like for that entity? Where it can be in harmony and surrounded by an environment that allows it to be good and constructive and to manifest that side of itself. So for example, if it's a squid, then an appropriate environment for it would be the deep ocean, surrounded by lots of clean water. And I actually don't know what squid eat, but what little fish or whatever it eats are swimming around, and it has enough food and it has enough family if it likes to live in pods, or enough solitude if it likes to live alone. And if the entity says, yes, I would like to go home, imagine taking the entity in your palm and then throwing it into the air and basically zapping it into another planet. And that planet is going to have the habitat that that entity needs to be sustained. The second question I like to ask the entities is, would you like to help us fight here on Earth to neutralize the threat that has been destroying us all through SRA and all that other kind of horrible stuff? And a lot of the times the entities will say, yes, I would. That's the reason I came to Earth. I would like to help you fight. And so then you can take the entity and throw it at the places that hurt you. So for me, I like to send it to all the places that I was trafficked. And at this point, you can, it's lawful for you to karmically multiply that entity by 10, send it out to these places that are doing harm, and the entities will go in and they will do exactly what they were doing to you, to those people that hurt you, in a way that inhibits them from hurting other people. So, interrupting their supply line, causing key people to not be able to function. And so you're helping the collective by stopping these people that are doing a lot of harm, at the same time that you're helping yourself, clearing the entity out of your system and sending it elsewhere. And you can also set the intention that once the entity is done doing their work on Earth, they will be sent back to wherever they would consider home to be. So now that we pulled the entity out, it's going to leave like cracks and fissures in your system, as if there was a literal, octopus or something embedded in your system. So once we've removed it, we want to heal those fissures and cracks. So go into that part of the body where you removed the entity and imagine filling those fissures and cracks with a blue healing gel. You could imagine taking like a icing piping bag and squeezing the blue healing gel into those cracks. Now imagine time speeding up and those cracks, the healing gel helping the cracks to come together, and they're melding together. Imagine them getting smaller and smaller and smaller and disappearing with a pop until all you're left with is a smooth etheric surface. And the last step is to reprogram and shield that area. So now that we have that smooth, unbroken surface, we'll want to send bolts of golden lightning into that space. And as we're doing that, we're going to reprogram with new beliefs, such as, I am strong, I am protected, I allow no energy into my core energy except my own. And then when you're done putting those beliefs in, imagine another layer, maybe like a couple of inches of glowing energy extending out from your etheric body. And this is going to be a nice energetic shield that will shield you from any further entities being implanted in your system.